level. Okay. So
Yeah.
what we would want is for people to have access to more self-esteem, worthiness,
Mhm.
deservedness, and love, like those things, to where they have more understanding of self so that they feel more worthy, more deserving, and they can spread more love. So like underneath that, whatever steps we take, that should be the purpose.
Yes.
They leave that with that eye-opening experience of self, because a lot of times it's very scary to look at yourself,
Mhm.
because you got to take the bad with the good.
Yeah.
So when you really take the fear away from ownership over the shadow,
Mhm.
there's healing really starts to take place.
Mhm. Yes.
So let's go for it. Deliberate creation, it takes time, and that doesn't mean lots of it. Sometimes you go faster when you go slower. I know that sounds crazy, but when we slow down our breath and we breathe and we have our heartbeat synced up to our breath, but we stay calm, we have more access to our bodies, to the information in our minds, and to guiding and influencing our emotions consciously when we slow down. So then that creates a, a pace that is like a sprinting emotionally or spiritually. So I really want you to slow down the mind, slow down the heart, even watch the cells, the blood cells in the veins, just really start to line up with each other. Okay, one of the tools for deliberate creation is you have to see yourself there, right? You've got to be able to be safe and be okay with creating something after you know what you want to create. So it is a stair step, and we can use the chakras, but our main goal, several different ways, teach people the tools to access their worthiness. That's where the deliberate creation is at its core. Now we know love and joy, but if you're unable to access your worthiness, you feel like you're unworthy of love, you're unworthy of joy. So how do you get there? So it's really a class on worthiness. So once people find their purpose, because that's the first component, a lot of people don't know their purpose. This was talked about. So really mining deeply for people to understand their purpose. And that can be a part of the curriculum, is come here knowing what your purpose is. Come here having an idea of the direction of your life or your purpose, right?
Mhm.
And then from there, moving into the worthiness quotient, which is huge. So this is a real crux. So let's rewind though. So really having people excavate their purpose. So it's also a level of trauma removal that takes place here. But first, you replace with things. So maybe there's some theta, or maybe there is a meditation, a walkthrough meditation to begin. That's the first thing you do, is you calm people's energy down and you get them in their bodies. Once you get them in their bodies, then you can proceed to first give them a quote or tell them about someone, a great who said something that will segue into what you're going to speak about. But make sure that you give them tools and exercises that they can take with them to access the energy of each of these centers. So understanding your purpose and what it's all about, and then creating a set of goals to get there. That's what a master class would be.
Mhm.
So people respect SMART goals. So what is your purpose? We lecture, you write your SMART goals. We don't need to hear about you per se. This is like, moving on to 2. This one's very simple. Moving on to 2 and worthiness. This is where we're going deep into the trauma and the removal. Removal of unworthiness And this is some sort of interaction here with people, lots of emotional support. So this is also where theta is done around worthiness, forgiveness, creativity. We also want to spark worthiness, creativity here. I'm being shown that a lot of this has already been done. All we have to do is put the pieces together.
Yes.
So it's books out there on creativity.
Yes.
Go through it and take some of the pieces of that. And we use our divine numbers, 3, 6, 9.
Yeah.
So each chakra has 3 bullet points we work on. And maybe each bullet point maybe has 6 or another 3 or whatever. So moving up, it's about worthiness and creativity. This is about the individual. This is not necessarily about any type of intimacy outside of the self. So as we move up into the third, this would be about assertiveness, feeling comfortable in your own skin, right? So that you can move your energy outside of you to start creating something. So I'm also told here by the energy that it's being fed. So it's like this 3 is really kind of interesting because it's being fed from Mother Earth as well as from the divine. So it's like your essence, the core of who you are. And so it may be we might want to think about this being last, because this is manifesting. This is how these creation, we think it's 2. That is very true. But the mirror, the message comes forth from 3. So it's as if that energy moves up and moves down and then out up from 3. So we got to think about where we want 3 to be. Is it 1, 2? Then we move up to 7, 6, 5, 4, and then 3, because that could be how they come into their zenith and their full fruition in their personal power. And maybe that needs to be last. All right. So as we move up into the heart, this is another place where there is need for Ho'oponopono. So the day that we do that, we begin with, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. And they will need a mirror for this particular one, because they're going to have to be looking at themselves in the mirror and saying this. And maybe we'll have everyone, like turn their camera off. If that's the case, or whatever, and turn your camera off, or we need you to have a mirror. Okay. So that's important. And then unconditional love. Also, the second part of the mirror class is understanding that they're mirroring their mother, their father, all of the people that they have disdain for or trauma from. They signed up for that experience, and also they're starting to mirror. So how can we resolve and dissolve that energy? Because it's not only a theta program, it's an action. Recognizing, coming out of denial, making it safe. So that's that. And having enough love to do the work, right? It's so simple, but it is not easy. And we are here to make it easy. Yes. Because I'm giving you a very vague, but it's like we've got to get the step by step. Boom, boom, boom. So, we have, like I said, we have 3, and then, okay, take these steps. When you are feeling ungrounded, these are the steps that you take. You ground your energy. Most people know about grounding, but maybe not. So let's not assume that. Now, but let's build on that. What's the next step you can do other than grounding? Okay. What is it that you can do? Okay, we know you can exercise. What else can you do? You can scream into your pillow, right? You can hit something. You can go for walks. What is it? Figure out. So it's like all of these things sound very simple. Everyone knows, but what is your particular one that you can lean on, that you know that you will do, versus just sitting there and wallowing? So like having them really take the time to understand their, I guess, regrouping language, taking the steps. But how do we empower them to take the steps to regroup? You see, that's what we're here for. Because all of us know, John, you know how to eat right. You know how to exercise. You know what it takes to have cuts in your abs and all that. Well, what are the blocks? I don't mean you. I'm just proverbial us.
Yes.
I know what is the blocks there that keep me eating the Twinkies,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
versus, okay, I know that to do this, I need to eat my green beans and my da-da-da and drink my bulletproof coffee. I know what to do. Why don't I do it? What isn't firing in the brain? So this is a heart-centered question that needs answering. I know what I do, so why don't I do it? Where are these blocks at? Where am I lacking the love in my life? Then the throat chakra, speaking truth. It's our job to really take away exaggeration, lack of integrity. How do we teach how important truth is? Truth is very important. And in this day and age where everything is an illusion, how do we get past that to the real?
Yes.
So really helping them with that.
Mm.
You know, what is their truth? How do you come back into balance with your truth when you see yourself going off the rails or wanting to be impressive or wanting to join the conversation? What are you going to do to reel yourself in? Right? Some questions. How are you going to then begin to speak your truth more in ways in which help you in your life? Maybe we can give them some sentences, some language.
Yes. Yeah, it makes sense.
You know, you know what I mean? Languaging. When you do this, it makes me feel like this. So then we look into nonviolent communication. We look into different ways to help them, you know, culling all that together.
Yes.
To bring it. And then first and foremost, too, when we get up into the center of the head, it's all about sanity. Sanity in the brain functioning. So we're going to do some exercises where we're integrating logic and reason with intuition, you know, and also in the center of the head, we've got to get clear. How do you go about cleaning out the center of your head? So basically with all these little exercises, it's not going to be hard. We'll just teach them how to clean out their chakras, right? Sit down, put your feet flat on the floor, ground your energy, and use your hands to pull out whatever's bothering you. You have anger. Maybe you're holding anger and they're blocking your channels of creativity. Turn it bright yellow, send it down the grounding cord, right? So we have some, but for the center of the head, it's important that we clean it out. We teach them how to clean it, but also what are we doing? What about the programming and conditioning and the cognitive dissonance? How are we going to work that out? So that's the question we need to answer in the center of the head is how do we help people work out the cognitive dissonance that they're experiencing in their life that's blocking them from moving forward? And that's tied directly into worthiness. But we've been lied to so much, told things that, and starting to believe things. How do we clean out all that detritus from the center of the head?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah.
You know, and then we also want to restore you know, that's just a relationship with the divine and the universe. So what is a ritual around that? And we'll teach them how to. And then I think we can bring in binaural beats. Like it's always important to have, I guess, presentation materials like a video. We want a video, we want slides, we want things to where people will stay engaged.
Yes.
And we also want participation. But when we first come in, the creator shows me that it's imperative that everybody shut the fuck up and meditate and ground.
Yes.
And then once we get that first detox, when we get up into 2, we can start all of the, but people need to really relax, chill, slow down. Let's get rid of some of this energy that has you all kinetic and having, you know, seizures and, you know, you got to get real with who you are and what you want. And so the first session is our total facilitation. And then the second is when we really start to dig in with them. All right, so let's see if I can get a tad bit more detailed, at least for one. So I think I was detailed. Maybe I need to move into 2. Because 1, we talked about figure out what your purpose is, make some SMART goals. Let's dissect the first chakra, what that looks like. Let's get out of denial about some of the behaviors that has us at a deficit or excessive, like
Yeah.
circular motion with that chakra. All right, so that's boom, boom, boom. But when we get to 2, worthiness, we really have to deal with, like, what are we going to deal with, and how are we going to talk to them about that? So first, a good thing to do that always makes people think is, what is worthiness? What does it mean? What does it look like? How does it, like, if we dissect these things for people, then their brain starts to work, and then they go, well, I work like this, and a lot of times I don't feel worthy because of this, and having prompts, and maybe we can put together some materials, right? So let's say that they have SMART goals. So we have something that we put together that's like a book that anybody who joins our class gets this workbook. So we need to have a workbook to accompany this masterclass. Nothing major. It could be 5 pages. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of just we want, and then maybe even at the end, what does your aura layer look like? Maybe you can take a look, have them tap into some of their clairvoyance. So we can also give them a little bit of clairvoyant training. That's why I brought that up, because it could look good in the workbook.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, for a lot of this, the worthiness thing, so many people struggle with that sense of self-worth purely because we're taught to question everything about ourselves, because that's the way the programming is. That's how they keep us small. So it really has to be about truth. So it has to be about getting to the real truth and encouraging people to see it for what it is, so that they can then step into their own sense of self-worth, because they know that the other stuff they've absorbed has been misleading.
I really believe that we need to start cutting up. I know you have a lot on your plate, but if you could, some of these things that we're recording, it would be so wise to cut them, little snippets of them.
Yeah.
And just have them on either in the newsletter, social media, something where we have these little pieces, of us talking and powwowing, and this can be part of that sizzle reel, the promo we talked about for this masterclass. They can see us developing it, or, sitting down and powwowing about. I think that's very powerful.
Yeah.
Okay, so think about that.
Yeah.
So the crux of this is definitely with the 2 and 3, right? The worthiness and then the self-expression. So that's really what deliberate creation is all about. You feel worthy enough to express yourself. Then you get in a dance with the universe. And when you start to dance and know the movements, it really does reverberate in your life. Like, we all know people who just flow with the rhythm of life. And they also seem to be really, really good at dance. Like, there's these people that, I don't know if you have them in your life, but it's like their shit's together. And then they flow with life, but then they're also like, they move that way. Even their physical body is in flow with their environment. So that's the goal. It's for us to get there and for us to help other people to get there. But I'm learning, Jolie, that the more joy that I have and the more love and the more resilient, the more I don't focus on the negative, you take those steps away from the bullshit. You take those steps away from the poverty. You take it away from the disease and the illness. It's so true.
Yes.
So let's powwow on what to do, because the 3rd is really the zenith of our master class. It's not 7, it's 3, because
manifest.
We live on Earth and we're trying to have mastery over this here. So that's important that we teach people how to have mastery over this here. Of course, it starts there, but we really want to make it plain. Okay.
Yes. And I do think there's a lot of learning that needs to take place. You know, again, if you think about mainstream reality, and it depends where each person is on their particular journey. You know, a mainstream
Mhm,
person needs to start off with the very basic building blocks. You know, somebody
mhm.
already on the journey will be part way there, but it also helps with the workbook, because every workbook that as it gets filled out is them. It's all about them, but it's framed
Mhm.
in a way that helps them understand themselves and understand the way to go forward. And I think that can be really quite powerful. Um,
Yeah.
but so much of it is about getting that message across about how, you know, how amazing we all are. And when you believe that, and when you feel the joy of that welling through you, as you say, that is your ticket. That gets you the lottery ticket, you know, that enables you to win. So until you feel that relaxation and joy and inner peace and harmony, and you're flowing with the divine flow of the universe, because that's it. You've got to turn your canoe downstream, and we are taught to paddle into the stream. So now we're kind of like, you know, we can use these analogies as well, right? Because I think that once you create that visualization and say, okay, right, you know, we're taught to paddle upstream. There's a reason we're taught to paddle upstream, is because that keeps us small. It keeps us away from where we're supposed to go. Our job is to help you turn downstream. Now, I know this stuff is kind of it's very Abraham, right? But nevertheless, if it's an analogy that works, and you know, it's something that you can't manifest anything when you're paddling upstream. There's nothing that you want that is upstream. Everything you want is downstream. So
Yeah.
just go with it. But I think it is important to create this visualization of this journey, because to me that makes it so much easier when you can visualize yourself on this beautiful river and you have a choice. You can try and paddle upstream through the rapids, or just turn around and enjoy a really languid journey down the banks, watching everything come towards you that you could ever want, you know.
Yeah. Exactly. And I'm trying to also get a read on how much we should charge for this.
mm,
It's like it doesn't go above $50
mm,
and it doesn't go really below 25. So somewhere
mm.
between 25 and 50. So maybe it could just be $33,
Yes, 33, I
you
like that.
know, for this master class,
mm,
you know,
yeah.
23 or $33 um for it. And it looks as if we go like 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then back. Or we can go 1, 2, because I was thinking bring it in from Mother Earth, bring it down from the cosmic divine, and then by that time they'll be
Yes,
ready to express it out, you know,
yes.
coming forth from them, right?
mm,
So let's keep it that way if we can. Think about it. Tell me what you think, because first of all, you need to ground and get in your body and be
mm,
present. Then you need to kind of let go of some of the trauma that's stopping your creativity and you feeling worthy. Boom. And then after all of that, earthquaking, we take you to the divine.
mm,
We bring in that energy and then we soothe the mind and the thoughts of the doubt and the fears. Then you begin to speak positive and life into your experience, and then all that love is in the heart, and now you're ready to express it. So to me, that's how that should unfold.
yeah, I mean, to me it feels right, you know, in terms of grounding, absolutely, but also bringing down that cosmic gold early as well.
Yes,
Because
yes.
once you've got both connecting points together, and your physical body, or what, you know,
Hmm.
your etheric body and your energy body,
Hmm.
once you've got, it's like connecting the plug from both ends. So you know, and one plug on its own is not enough, but
Nope.
one plug and join to one socket, then you've got a connection, right? And then everything
Yes.
between, focusing on the ones which build us towards that manifesting and creating. And
Okay, so let's I'm being moved. Okay, let's just get started. So for the root chakra, we know we want grounding. So we bring in some grounding materials. We do some research on grounding, which we don't need. We talk about how inflammation, and when you lay on the ground naked, it really removes all the inflammation and all the pain. and all of that. But you can't have anything between you and the ground. Okay,
Sure.
we can talk about that. Then we can move on from grounding into an exercise of the breathing, right? We could do some breathing,
Mhm.
and then we could move into how to remove energy from your body,
Yes.
right? So we have the grounding is two-pronged. We teach them how to ground, right?
Yes.
But we could also bring in color here,
Yes. Oh, color. Yeah.
right?
Color
So
is.
we can bring in the color and we can have them visualize the color red. And
Mm,
inside this color red, we can have them write what, see their purpose.
mm,
Inside this bubble of red, they could see their purpose written out, or we could do something with this red color to create the momentum or the beginning of the energy for them to want to move forward with their purpose. So we also, in the root, have to instill safety. It is okay and safe for them to be who they are. So we've got to be able to teach them that as well. So what's a step-by-step process to help people feel good about who they are? Right? So we have to take some time to dig into what are your positive qualities.
Yes.
We need you to write those down.
Yes.
And then I see offshoots on those, like, okay, from this positive quality, you say you're generous. What does that actually look like? What does generosity look like? Are you really generous? Are you delusional? Like, like, what does generosity look like? Are you beautiful? And then we also want people to feel safe. If you're in a beautiful body, if you're in a body that people find attractive, we need for you to be safe in that, right? Take your own power back to be able to utilize it instead of wanting to dim your light because you're afraid of what people may say or do in your presence, right? So it's like these little things are so important. So if we get in the details, we'll be heads and shoulders above the rest because everything is so vague. Now, we can't get into every detail, but it's our job to find the one detail that connects all the others, right? There's always that one detail that connects all the others, called the bottom belief, kind of, or the bottom where it all begins. So it's up to us to dig for that. So at a base level, one of the things that's difficult for us, we go in and out, is safety. So really having people, teaching them how to feel safe, the grounding exercise, and then maybe there's some affirmations. Who are you, right? Purpose, all that. So I think that we stay there for our next meeting. We get pen and paper out or computer, and we just, if we turn this into something complicated, we're losing the plot.
Yeah, totally.
It is 1, 2, 3 bullet points, and maybe 3 bullet points under each of those bullet points.
Yes.
Picking out some slides, some music, some images, and a video to accompany.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, I'm liking that. I kind of got a vision there, like when you were started talking about the grounding and how where like if you lay down on the ground naked, sort of like, so you're connecting with the earth, and that would be our opening lines for the workshop is, we'd like you to start by taking off all your clothes. Go into your garden and lay down. But I don't know, it's an interesting one. I'm going to keep writing out this thing I've got, because I think that a part of this still feels to me like there's a story that has to be told there, particularly for the mainstream, because once we start talking about them grounding their energy, they'll say, ground him or what? You've got to start off with a basic. And it's almost like, I think my role is to be the bridge from mainstream, right?
Absolutely. So you could give them the identity, the example of a plant, right? A seed in the ground. And you realize that at some point, this plant is going to have roots into the ground that stabilizes it.
Yes.
And these, you know what I mean? So it's like that example of being rooted and grounded and receiving the nutrients And it's the same thing for us energetically. We are carbon-based individuals on a planet that we are connected to. So we can definitely, John, your job is to bring in the science.
Yeah. And I'm looking forward to it as well, because I think to an extent, I'll learn as I go. Because I mean, there's a lot of stuff I already know, but there's still so much stuff that I don't know. But this gives me an excuse to kind of go into the a little bit more granular detail without getting lost in it's got to be engaging still, right? Because that's almost number one thing. If it's not engaging, our audience is not there anymore.
Nope.
Right? We want it to be fun. We want it to be informative. We want it to be empowering.
Absolutely.
You know, that's the key thing is, you know, you here's an opportunity to recreate your vision and your version of yourself to something so much better. But first you have to realize where the programming has pulled you out of alignment with the truth.
There you go. See, that's beautiful. You have to understand where you're programming, especially, but it's always you're programming about yourself.
Yes.
Has you out of alignment with the truth.
Yes.
Right? That was beautiful. See,
right.
it's words, stringing together words like those that the brain, it goes on high alert and it starts to look for what you're talking about. And that's when epiphanies happen. So if we can be poetic and exculpatory, you know what I mean, in our sentence structure, we'll do well, I think.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
So another thing I want us to understand is that it's not this time around, the content is secondary to us being marketing and getting ourselves out there. And it's up to you and I to do that. Like we can go to Nige and Danny and stuff, but on this master class specifically, we're building it, but we need for people to know that it's there in some way. And so imagine if we have a campaign going from now all the way until, you know, we just start this drip of content to create this master class and to create a buzz for it.
Yes.
So that's our next assignment, is to get like a marketing drip ready to come out there.
Yeah.
And I know that there's certain people that can put it on I can put it on mine, of course. And then other people can put it in different places. We could lay it in different places.
Yeah. And we've got plenty of time to do that. And I'm thinking even the likes of, you know, to get Tia involved in certain aspects of this as well, means that Tia reaches out to her, you know, much vaster universe.
Yeah, but I agree with you there, but we definitely need to give her some parameters as to what to talk about.
Yes. And
how long. So I do believe that if Tia comes in, deliberate creation, 3-pronged, first her experience, how she, you know, like what she's done, you know, her CV, whatever. Then we go into how she began to know she was a deliberate creator, and then now how to deliberately create. Yeah. So maybe she's the one we bring in the very last.
The case study, right?
Yeah.
A living case study of somebody who's lived deliberate creation. How did they come about it? How did they develop it? How do they do it now? Right? Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's very good.
So she might be last. And I also think there's room for others. Maybe Lori can talk to people about how to clean, you know, their creative space deliberately to create, you know, deliberate creative energy. I mean, we could expand on this forever. Yeah. But in the meantime, let's just say Tia for now, she could be the one of the last speakers to maybe take us through, have her specifically take us through an exercise or a meditation to tap in to that deliberate creation. And that could be a gift that we give them.
Yes.
I think let's do it. Boom. We have a curriculum.
Yeah. Okay.
Connect.
So what?
Connect.
Yeah.
Hold on. we're like we did today, we connect, we
Mhm.
get the info, and then our
Mhm.
next meeting, we put together the curriculum.
Okay. Okay. Got
The
you.
3 bullet points, and then the 3 bullet points under those bullet points. And then let's think about, in the interim, what are we going to use? What pictures, content, images, videos do we want to use for this time period?
Mm.
And they've got to be science-based, all science-based.
Mhm.